Can anybody say a few words about the yesterday's topic, Jiva? Little bit about like what you understood. What's the nature of Jiva?
Jiva is eternal and it is eternally connected to the Supreme Lord.
Okay.
And it also has a characteristic of Satchit Ananda. And also it is non-destructible. It cannot be burned by fire or anyway affected by 5 Panchamahavutas. And it transfers from one body to other body.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mataji. This is what I was expecting. Could I get your name, Mataji?
Gitanjali Mataji.
Okay, wonderful. Gitanjali Mataji. Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate your understanding, Mataji. So, am I audible to everyone? Is my voice clear?
Yes, it is clear.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, fine. Thank you all for confirming.
Yes, Prabhuji, it's clear.
So, Mataji, could you please share today's PPT? So, yesterday we were discussing about Jiva, the soul. So, we were discussing how the journey happens, how the soul travels from one body to another body, and how the soul get traps in this material world and all those stuff. So there is one another important thing that we have to know and understand, that is, what is making the soul to act sometimes without its intention. Okay, so that we are going to discuss today. So Tanapriya Mataji, could you please share the PPT? So,
can you see my PPT, Prabhu?
yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good. So before we start, we are going to just have a glance on what are the topics that we are going to discuss today. So scroll to the next slide, Mataji. Turn to the next slide. Hare Krishna. So this Prakriti. So could you please go back, Madhu? There should be one more page. Okay, fine. Turn to the next page. Okay. So let's go step by step. Energy. There are 3 types of energies, to God. Okay, that we are going to discuss. Material energy, Prakriti, spiritual energy, Yogamaya, marginal energy, the Jiva, who is the part and parcel of God. And we have a choice. What kind of choice we are going to have, that we are going to discuss today. And the 3 puppeteers. Okay, and the crossover, and then some details about Kala, the time. Okay, I mean the spiritual time, how the Yuga cycle is being calculated. That we will discuss. Okay. So next, Mother. So energy, 3 categories. The Lord's energy broadly categorized into 3 divisions. One is Bahiranga Shakti, the material energy; Antaranga Shakti, spiritual energy; Tatastha Shakti, marginal energy. So the marginal Tatastha Shakti is that we. Okay, we as a Jiva. Okay. So next, Mother. Now we will go one by one. Prakriti, material energy, the first one. So what is this Prakriti means? Okay. So can anybody tell what do you understand by the word Prakriti means?
Maybe nature.
Nature, or sometimes characteristic of some person or living being.
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Thank you. So Prakriti, yes, you are right. It's a material nature, and this Prakriti is a combination of 8 elements. Okay, so Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter He says, Bhumirapo nalo vayu kam mano buddhirevacha ahankara iti yamme vinna prakritirashtadha. So these 8 elements, Bhumi, Apo, Nalo, Vayu, Kam, Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara. Okay, these 8 elements, Prakriti is combination of these 8 elements, and these are the separated energies of the Lord. Okay, so we, for example, to easily understand this body, we got this body from our parents. How did they get, before this body transformed into this level of gross identity. So it is a combination of earth, water, and the foodstuffs that are being produced in the material energy, right? Okay, so there is a combination of these 8 elements in this body. Okay, there is water in this body, there is ether in this body, there is heat in this body, there is the ahankar, the I, the feeling of I is there in this body, there is intelligence in this body. So all these elements make this body. Okay. However, and what is activating these elements in this body? The soul, which is the part and parcel of God. Okay, so soul sitting in the heart and spreading across this body, the consciousness spreading across this body. With that energy, the body is functioning in this material body, and that's how the material world is happening. Okay, so and this material world works under the supervision of Lord Krishna. Okay, God. So he says that Mayadhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharachara Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagadvi Parivartate. So my Adhyakshena Suyate. So I am under my supervision, this Prakriti is being produced. Okay, that's what Krishna is saying. And this material energy, it consists of temporary things. This matter, whatever you see in this material energy, it has a time to perish. Okay, it nourishes at some time, and after some time it perishes. Okay? And Krishna, he says, he confirms that to Arjuna, my dear Arjun, whatever the sensual pleasures that you're experiencing in this material world, okay, so they are like, they're born out of distress. He says that, ehi sansparsha bhoga dukkha yumya evate adi antavanta kaunteya na teshuran ramate buddha. He says that these material sense pleasures, they start at one point and they end at another point. So when they start, when we're experiencing, we feel joy, we feel bliss, we feel like something like I'm feeling good kind of feeling you will feel. So when this pleasure gets end, okay, when this pleasure stops, then you will feel unhappy. Okay, so the Supreme Personality who created this world, who is the source for these creation, he himself telling that this particular material energy, which is a separated energy of me, is temporary. It gets changed. Okay, so what happens? There is a time by when it gets changed. The time has given. It is clearly mentioned in scriptures when the material energy gets dissolved and when again it regenerates. Okay, so this time also we are going to discuss today. Okay, and created to serve the purpose of prison house. Okay, this is something important that we need to understand. So in Shastras say that this material energy is kind of a prison. Okay, so prison in the sense, so if you look at the prison that the normal prison that we look in the society, whatever government maintains, the prison also maintains criminals and it also feeds criminals. Okay, so in the same way, this material energy, also maintains the living entities. It feeds the living entities, but it is temporary. It is restricted to some extent of enjoyment only. Okay, so this is what we have to understand. So to understand this in a better way, for example, I would like to quote an example, small story. So there were two persons. Okay, one person name was Joy, and another person's name was Roy. Okay, so these two living entities, these two they committed a sin. Okay? They committed an illegal activity, okay, which was a bit against to the law. So they were caught and they were, they got a punishment. Judge sentenced them to be in jail for some period. Okay, they were told that you have to be in the jail for a certain period. After that, if we see that you are behaving, if you are following good conduct, then we will release like that. They were being told and they were being put in a jail. So this Joy and Roy both had a different mentality. So this Joy, he was a bit kind of jovial person. Okay, he always used to mingle with everybody, no matter whoever it is. Okay, he used to develop relationship with all of them. Okay, he used to use his influence before he was getting into jail. Whatever he acquired, could be material property or money, whatever it may be. He used to use that, and he used to bribe the authority of jail, the police, whatever, whoever maintains the jail. And the Roy, the person who is also in the jail, this person, he used to be calm, quiet, simple going, and he used to be restricted. I mean, he used to always follow the rules of the jail, and he is to do what the jail authority suggests him to do. Like, when somebody is put in jail, they assign some work, okay, and everybody has to do, no matter whatever higher position they hold it in the material world. That doesn't matter. When somebody comes into the jail, when that somebody is put in jail, all are equal. So they are supposed to do that work, and both of them they are doing. However, this Joy is taking advantage of the relationship that he developed in the jail. So because of this advantage, this relationships, what he's trying to do is he's trying to skip the work which has been assigned to him. So this the in charges of the jail, who got bribed from Joy. So they were also not telling him anything. They were excusing him always. He was living to his own life, and he's feeling that there is no difference for me at all. The material world, when he was outside and when he's in jail, he's feeling both are same. Like, I'm experiencing both. Whatever I used to enjoy outside, I'm experiencing here also. But only thing is that in a restricted manner. He's not enjoying it to the full extent. He's assuming that he's enjoying, but he's not enjoying to the full extent. He cannot meet his family, he cannot meet his parents, and he cannot spend time with his children. Okay, so these things, he can't do. However, Roy, he was sincere, and he was always contented to his work. Okay? And he even got appreciated by the jail authority as well. And after some period, over a period of time, there was a time come that it came that both of them supposed to be released out of the jail. However, there was a official, okay, higher authority of the jail. They inquired the conduct of these two people, Joy and Roy, and they found that Joy was not working properly, and he was bribing the officers of the jail, and they found misbehavior with the Joy. So they kept back Joy and they released Roy. Okay. So here, what we need to understand is, though you enjoy in this world, though you accumulate a lot of money, property, whatever it may be, though you develop wonderful relations in this world, okay, you're not going to enjoy a lot. After the Joy was caught and after he was asked to stay back, nobody started talking to him at all, because they were afraid. This person again got the punishment. If we again start talking to him, if we again build relation with him, then again they may suspect us also, like that. Now all the relations are gone. However, Roy, he behaved in the way he was supposed to be behaved. He got released and he left the jail. He joined with his family. He went to his parents. He joined with his family. Now he's enjoying with his children. So who is the intelligent person over here? The one who bribed the jail officials and enjoyed, or the one who behaved in the way he's supposed to behave and got out of the jail? Can anybody tell?
The one who behaved in the way that he is supposed to behave and he gets rid of jail.
Okay. So anybody else? Fine, thank you. So right. So here, if you replace this, if you understand the philosophy in this little story, so the material world is like a jail. Okay, it has all facilities. I'm not denying that fact, but thing is that all are temporary. So we have to use them properly, and you in such a way that they should help you to behave properly and get out of this world as soon as possible. Get out of this material world, the material energy as soon as possible. So in the Sanskrit, in Shastras, this material world is called as Bhavasagar. Bhavasagar, we say Bhavasagar. Okay, it's an ocean of miseries like that. Okay, so whomsoever we are related with right now, so we don't know them 100 years back, and we don't know we will be knowing them 100 years after also. So we have to settle our account with them, and we have to understand the importance of us being here. We have to follow the spiritual law, develop relationship with God, and go back to God. This is the practice that we need to develop. Okay. So Mataji, next slide, please. Open the slide once one more time. So that's the reason why we call it as no, go back. We call it as prison house. And there is an in charge of this prison house. We are going to understand who is that in charge, what's the name of that in charge. Okay. So we are like a fish out of the water. If you take out fish from the water, and if you place it in a nice garden, do you think that it is going to live? Can anybody answer?
No.
Please.
Very soon it will die, because the nature of the fish is to live in water, and the nature of the soul, jiva, is to live with God. Okay, so if the jiva is putting material energy, maybe for some time he may sustain, but he'll be suffering for long lasting. So next slide, Mother. Prakriti, material energy, in charge of creating everything in the material world, the living and non-living, moving and non-moving. So with the combination of those 8 elements, what I said, water, ether, earth, fire, okay, buddhi, ahankar, all those 8 elements. So these are involved in creating living and non-living entities. Okay, so living entities, they have 2 things extra, buddhi and ahankar, and non-living entities, they are only the combination of the 5 elements, water, ether, earth, fire. Okay, and it works under the supervision of Lord. As I said in the 9th chapter of the Gita, 10th sloka, Maya Dekshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharachara Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. The material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings under its rule. This manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Okay? And Krishna also says that he says that he creates this, and after, as I said, after some time this gets annihilated. Okay? So there is a time given in Shastras when this gets annihilated. I mean, annihilated in the sense, it gets destroyed, dissolves. Okay? So Mother, next slide, please. So Prakriti, material energy, nature of this world, temporary, full of miseries. Do you remember the 4 miseries that we all go through? Can anybody say the 4 miseries? Yesterday we discussed.
Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Mother. So yeah, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Okay, we take birth, we get into the teenage, then old age, then we suffer the death. Okay, so these 4 common miseries that are there in human form of life and animal form of life as well. Okay? So both of us are going to suffer the same kind of miseries, but human beings has a chance to get out of this cycle. So they have a separate element that is intelligence, okay, whereas animal doesn't have. They only live for eating, mating, sleeping, defending. That's it. Okay. So how do we can get out of this danger, these four miseries? So Krishna says, Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalema shashvatam napnumanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gataha. So after attaining, can anybody read this translation?
Yes. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection.
Right. So in the 8th chapter of Gita, Krishna says this. So Krishna also describes about his abode in the same chapter. He says, Avyakto akshara ityukta hatamaho paramam gatim yam prapyana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So Krishna says, Avyakto akshara. Avyakto means my abode, my spiritual abode is unmanifested. It is akshar. Akshar in the sense that which does not gets destroyed. Okay. In Sanskrit, akshar means that which does not has a perishing date. Okay. It does not gets destroyed. So it is avyakta akshara self-illuminated. So it is described in Shastras. There are some Puranas which describe the higher planet, the nature of higher planets, how it is going to be. So there is one Purana called Brahma Vaivarta Purana. In that, the description of Krishna's abode is mentioned. So it is said that Krishna's abode is has some trees called Chintamani trees. So these Chintamani trees, if you sit under this tree and if you wish anything, so it immediately gives you that fruit. It can be fruit or anything. But those who go to Golok, they don't desire that. For those who are beyond of these desires, they go to Golok. Okay, so that kind of nature they develop when they are human beings. Okay, so and furthermore, description is also there how the residents of Golok, I mean the people who are living in God's abode behave. Okay, so you can see, I mean, our movies, they project sometimes, how the heavenly planet is going to be. You will see brightness, you will see like a lot of, like spacious, so beautiful, self-illuminating. Okay, so these descriptions, what they project, they have taken from the scriptures. They have taken the description from the scriptures. Right? So that is exactly, there in the scriptures. Okay, so that's all. So we have to aim for being with God. Okay, which is we have to aim to go to the Bhagavad Dham. Okay, so next slide, Mataji. So go back. Okay, fine. Next slide. Okay. So this Prakriti material energy, the prison house, why we call it as prison house, we discussed without walls and locks. Okay, in the actual prison, you'll see walls surrounded, but this does not have actual locks. The walls and locks are like our own miseries. Okay. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya durakriya mameme prapadyante maya vetantaram dite. And Krishna says, so these material energy is being maintained by Krishna's yoga maya. Okay, the energy which maintains this material world is called Maya. Okay, and she's also called Mahamaya Devi, and she's also called, her name is also called Durga. Okay, so Durga means superintendent of this prison house. She is the in charge of this material energy. Okay, so that's the reason we pray to Mother Durga during the Navaratri season. So we, people, they don't understand. They still, pray for all material things only. But as long as you ask for material things, she keeps you engaging in this material world only. When you ask for spiritual things, she blesses you and she makes you a devotee of Lord. When you become devotee of Lord, that's when you get a passport, visa to go low. Okay? So that's how she works. Okay, and Krishna, whatever he wants to do in this material world, whatever he wants to create in this material world, he will do with the help of his yoga maya. So this divine energy of mind consisting of three modes, material nature, is difficult to overcome. So this Maya, what we are talking, and she, like if you look at the material world right now, you have many applications which can easily buy out your, concentration. Okay, even if you don't want a single picture, a single poster when you are going out, if you look at the poster, that poster will take away your concentration. Okay, so that's the reason, government, they restrict people to advertise, big billboards outside. They put a restriction, because if someone looks at that and is driving, there's a chance of meeting with accident. So these there are many things that distract our concentration. Okay, so there is a story, like mm, one time what happened, there was a mendicant, there was a brahmachari. So he studied scriptures under supervision of his master. Okay, and his master instructed him, now you got perfect, so you have become perfect in scriptures. Now you go back, you go to, you choose any one village, or you go back to your hometown, wherever, whichever place you feel comfortable, go there and practice your spiritual practices, and be inspiration to others, like that his master instructs him. So he goes to one secluded place, and he doesn't have anything. He only has, cowpin. Does anybody know cowpin? Cowpin in the sense, these mendicants, they don't wear normal clothes like that. They only wear one
Yeah.
underwear kind of cloth. They tie it to their genitals, and they live with that, because they are detached to everything. Okay? So this person only has two cowpins. So every day he washes one and he wears one. Okay. So what he did, he was sincere. Okay. And so he told his master that, my dear master, I'm going to so and so place. Whenever you want to come, you can come and visit me, like that. He, informs to his spiritual master. And this person, he goes to a town, a kind of village. Okay? And he starts meditating under a very good place. And so every day, as I said, he washes his cowpin and he puts it, so that it gets dried. And one day, what happened? A small rat came and it started eating the cowpin. So this mendicant, he was only having two cowpins. What he did, uh, he thought of bringing a cat, so that the cat will hunt this rat, and he will not have to suffer a rat eating of his cowpin cloth. Okay. Now he brought the cat, and after he brought the cat, he has to feed that cat. He need milk to feed that cat, and then to feed that cat, he brought a cow. And to maintain that cow, he has to supply grass, he has to wash him, he has to remove the stool, all this he has to do. And by doing so, his sadhana is getting distracted. And then what he did, he thought of bringing a person. He engaged a person, a woman, and she was doing services nicely, and he was so impressed. After some time, he married that woman, and they started a family. And this women, she was asking him different needs, and they got children. Okay, and he became a family man. He bought a property, he started doing some business. He bought a property, he built a very big house. He was very happy with the family. And one day, his spiritual master happened to come to the town, and he was inquiring about this mendicant. So people were telling that, yeah, there used to be a person here, he used to meditate, but we don't see him anywhere now, like that. So his spiritual master got, tired of searching for his disciple. So he happens to go to his disciple's house only. So those days, people used to invite, this, spiritual gurus, and even now people invite these, pious people, the gurus, to their home. They feel that it would be fortunate if they come and have lunch or anything in their house. They may get lot of luck. They may have luck in their life like that. They think, and they invite people, gurus. So they invited this, this guru. He, without inviting, he went to that home and he was asking to that lady, the owner of the lady, that can I have lunch in your house like that? She was asking. He was asking to that lady, and she was saying, let me ask permission of my husband. She told. She went inside and she called her husband. And when her husband came outside, he once fell on this, spiritual guru's feet, and this man was, so much. This person, the spiritual master, was shocked to see this person falling on his feet, and he asked, "Please, could you please get up?" He asked, and then he started inquiring about. So the spiritual master asked, "Who are you? Do you know me?" Then this person, he started telling, "My dear master, you asked me to do spiritual sadhana over here. I was doing sadhana. Later on, this is happened." And then the spiritual master laughed, and he said, "Okay, this is how the material energy works. Okay, now you got into family. So you might be feeling that this family is so good, you're enjoying this family. But what if after a few days, you have to suffer the old days? Then do you think that this family will take care of you? So why have you? So his teaching master again reminded him, why have you kept your spiritual practice aside, and why have you become Guru Grahastha? So he said that he was once, he recollected his ambition. His ambition, his aim was to become a wonderful master of his senses. But he became the slave of his senses. So it's not wrong to marry or have a family, but the thing is that keeping aside of your spiritual practices and maintaining a family is just like uh, kind of having a nice recipe without salt, having sweet without having sugar. So how can we imagine of a recipe without salt? No, there won't be any taste at all. So in the same way, without having a spiritual practice in the life is like that. So then this disciple, he took advice of his guru, and though he was grahastha life, he took some tips from him. Being a grahastha, how he can practice his spiritual practices again, and he started practicing, and then his life was successful. So this is how the material energy drags away, takes away our concentration, takes away our attention, uh, okay, from spiritual path to material path. Okay, so when you are material path, you have to undergo the life and death cycle again and again. You have to take rebirths repeatedly, and in Shastras it is described that the birth, the human birth is much more miserable than any hellish punishments that they get in the Narakaloka, I mean the actual hell. Okay. So, Mataji, next slide, please. Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, 1 minute.
So, this material world, Prakriti, material energy, it is said that this material world consists three modes. Okay. Then how are we bound? Okay. So here is some information about how we get entrapped in this material world. Okay. So in 14th chapter, 5th sloka, Krishna says, can anybody read the sloka?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please go.
Satyam rajastama eti guna prakriti sambhavat nibhadanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avahyam.
Perfect. Thank you. Wonderful, Mataji. So it's Sattvam Rajastama iti guna prakriti sambhava nibaddanti mahabaho dehe dehi nama vyayam. So can anybody read the translation of this sloka? Anybody else?
Material
Yes,
nature,
Prabhuji.
I'll read Prabhuji. Material nature consists of three modes:
Okay.
goodness, fashion, and ignorance.
Okay.
When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by three modes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Mataji. So the reason why I'm asking to read slokas is these slokas, as you know, these are delivered from the mouth of Supreme Personality. These slokas contain a lot of power. Each sloka is like a mantra. That's the reason His Grace, Adi Shankara, the Shankaracharya, he says in Bhajagovindam that, Kinchidadita Bhagavad Gita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sahradapena Murari Tasya Evenana Charcha. He says that, those who even remember some portion, small portion of Bhagavad Gita sloka, and if they have little bit of Ganga water, and if they do little devotional service to Murari, they will not have to have an argument with Lord Emma. The argument with Lord Emma in the sense, when we leave this body, we will, the Yamadutas come, they take us to Lord Emma. He decides, whether we have to go to hell or heaven. So that point of time, the soul will be hesitant, he will not be ready to go to hell. So this kind of, argument the soul will not have if the soul, the living entity practices learning Bhagavad Gita, reciting the Bhagavad Gita slokas, at least little portion is good enough. So it is not that everybody has to become master. If they are aiming for becoming master of Bhagavad Gita, that's wonderful. That they can become a wonderful preacher. Okay. However, if somebody does not have a facility of, reading Bhagavad Gita daily, at least some little portion if they can try, then their life will be successful. Okay. So this material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with mighty contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna. So what are these three modes? Can anybody tell what are these three gunas, three modes?
Sattvic, Rajasic, and Tamasic.
Wonderful.
Three gunas.
Your name, Mataji?
Saubhagya Lakshmi.
Wonderful, Mataji. I really appreciate your participation, Mataji. Thank you very much. Yes, Sattva, Rajas, Tama. Okay. Sattva means the mode of goodness. Rajas means the mode of passion. Tama means the mode of ignorance. Okay. These three gunas, the material nature has these three gunas, and we are being led by these three gunas. So material energy consists of three gunas. When we get in contact with these three gunas, so we will be led by these three gunas. It is as simple as, when the raindrops gets in contact with the earth. Okay, the pure water which comes out of the clouds, once they get in contact with the earth, they become muddy, they become dirty. Okay, now is the water impure? No. So the water getting in contact with the earth, making it dirty. In the same way, the living entity is pure, part and parcel of God. When he getting in contact with the material energy, it is becoming pure. It is becoming enwrapped in these three modes. Okay. So in the same, this 14th chapter is called, it's a wonderful chapter. Krishna quotes that this chapter is, he says that most confidential knowledge amongst the most confidential knowledge. He said, so in the Gita, 9th chapter is called, Raja Vidya, Raja Bhuti Yoga, that is called confidential knowledge. And this particular 14th chapter, Krishna says that it is the even more confidential knowledge, he says. He says, Paramboya Pravakshami Jnananam Jnanamuttamam. When he describes about this chapter, Jnana, he says that Jnananam Jnanamuttamam. Amongst the Jnana, the most, amongst the Jnana, the Uttama Jnana. Uttama Jnana means even most purified Jnana is this 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. If one can understand, this is a little bit, little bit tough to understand this chapter, but if one understands, they can easily get out of this material. They can easily identify how to, save themselves getting entrapped in the material modes. Okay, so in the same chapter, he says, Krishna says, when you get, he describes, in a sequential manner. Okay, he says, now we got to know that material energy has three modes: sattva, rajas, tama. Okay, so how do you get out of this material world? He says, uh, uh, कर्मणा सुकृतस्याहो सात्विकं निर्मलं फलं रजसस्तु फलं दुःखम अज्ञानम तमस फलं. When you do activities in a mode of goodness, they will give you good result. When you do activities in the mode of passion, they will give distress. I mean, they will give results which gives you distress. And when you do activities in the mode of ignorance, then they will give a disastrous results. Now let's understand, to understand easily, let's try to apply some examples over here. So what is good doing work in mode of goodness? Okay, for example, okay, so if you eat uh, some amount of food which is required to your body, it will give you good results. It will give you energy. It will give you energy to do your work. Okay, it will not make you sleep. Okay, and it will keep your body. It will keep your body healthy. Okay, so eating the food which is the amount which is required to the body is in sattva. Let's understand. Okay, of course it is right. Okay, and eating such foodstuffs which are not so much added with spices, not so much chili, too hot or too chili, if you eat fruits, salads, vegetables, of course some cooked products which doesn't have much salt and all those things, those are considered as food under sattva. Okay, so if you eat such food, then your body will be healthy. You will not fall into, your blood pressure doesn't increase, doesn't fall. Okay, so obviously when you are eating the required amount, you are having good health. It is giving good results. And if you start eating too oily food, too much masala food, all those stuff, then you are getting agitation, you are getting indigestion, you might feel indigestion, and your blood pressure may increase and your sugar levels may increase. Okay, if you eat too much meat and all those stuff, okay, there is a tendency of sugar levels increasing. Okay, so those food which is comes under the category, if you eat that, it is called as doing activities in Rajasic. Those food is, that food is called Rajasic food. Okay, when you eat that, obviously it is giving bad results. It is spoiling your health. And when you eat food which is completely like drugs, liquor, what's going to happen? You will lose control on your mind. You lose. You will not be able to make like you won't be able to understand what you're doing, what you're talking. Okay, you may do some nonsense thing, you may do some illegal things also. Okay, you may get into arguments, you may get into fight. Okay, so like this, the same food is food which is required to body. If you eat something which is suitable to health, giving good results. Something which is little bit not suitable to health, giving bad results, you are going to suffer different ailments in the future. And when you are eating completely abominable food, then you are going to have a disastrous life. It's as good as life. So that's what Krishna says. Karmana supratasyahu satvigam nirmalam phalam rajasastu phalam dukkam ajnanam tamasa phalam. Okay. Sattvam sanjayate, and he says sattvam sanjayate jnanam. He says that when you do activities in sattva, you will develop the intelligence. So when you have enough quantity of food which is required to your body, your mind will work properly. If you eat more, or which is completely masala kind of thing, you may fall asleep, or you may not feel to you may not get, you may not have your concentration sitting properly. Okay. And likewise, rajasic and tamasic. Okay. So, and Krishna also says that those who act in this sattvic mode, okay, so they will get elevated to the higher planets. So Krishna, what Krishna says is that karma. So karmana sukrita pura satvikam nirmalam phalam rajasastu phalam dukkam adhyanam tamasa phalam sattvam sanjayate jnanam rajaso lobhamivacha. He says, so those who are under rajasic, they also have this miserly mentality. They don't even do proper devotion service and all those stuff. So there's a danger, threat of they becoming entrapped again. That's reason Krishna says, Urtvam gachanti sattvasta, madhye tishtanti rajasi, jaganya gunavrittista, ado gachanti tamasi. So, Urtvam gachanti sattvasta, he said, those who act in the sattvic mode, those who do all pious activities, sattvic activities like spiritual practice and all, they say, he says, Urtvam gachanti. They elevate to the higher planets, gods abode, heavenly planets, like that. So, Urtvam gachanti sattvasta, madhye tishtanti rajasi. So those who act in rajasic mode, they revolve in this madhya. He says madhya tishtanti. So top to us are spiritual planets, higher planets. Bottom to us are patala, talabitala, sutala, rasatala, padala. There are 7 other lokas which are which are also called as hellish planets. Okay, so we are in the middle. The planet Earth is in the middle. It is called Martya Loka. Okay. He says madhye tishtanti rajasi. Those who act in rajasic way, so they will be taking birth again and again in this material world, which is Martya Loka. So it can be human form or animal form. Okay, so in any form it can be. So they will be revolving in the material world only, and those who are completely ignorant, so they will be suffering these lower planets. So, what is next slide, please? So this is what Krishna says to us in the chapter of 14, which is called 3 modes of material nature. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. It is called Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga in Sanskrit. So it says, Daivi Hesha Gunamai. So how we can get out? He says, Daivi Hesha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratya Mame Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. He says, it is very difficult to overcome Maya. My Maya. Okay. Mama Maya, he says. As I said, it is his energy only. However, so we wanted to enjoy independently. That's the reason he puts us in this Maya loop. So it is very tough to overcome. However, those who are Mameva Prapadyante, those who take shelter of his lotus feet, for them it is very easy to get out of this world and to reunion with Krishna in his abode. So, Mataji, can you turn to the next slide? Okay, this is some information about the spiritual energy, Yogamaya. Creation of spiritual world, call it the other world. So it is it is told in Shastras that only 1/3 of the whole universe is in material world. The way 70% of the earth is covered by water, only 30% is the land where we are living, the earth. Okay, in the same way, 70 to 80% of the actual living days, they live in the spiritual world. Only little percentage they live in this material world. And we discussed how the spiritual world would be. It will be self-illuminous. It is akshar, avyakta, unmanifested, and unperishable. Okay, these are the descriptions. when you get into the great Puranas, you will find the actual description with more details about the spiritual world. Okay? Very fascinating. Okay? Completely opposite to the material world, Vaikunta, absence of anxiety. So the Vaikunta Loka, you will not find any anxiety in Vaikunta Loka. If somebody is finding anxiety, they will come back to the earth. So this, which is completely opposite to the material world. Whereas in the material world, every now and then, we have to suffer anxiety. We have to have some kind of fear, some kind of panicness for something. It can be maintaining family, it can be doing job, it can be anything. It can be. Okay. So this spiritual world is permanent and full of ananda. So bliss, you'll enjoy. You'll have supreme bliss when you are in the spiritual world. No fear, no anxiety, no lamentation. Because in the material world, why do we have fear, anxiety, lamentation? Because we have to have, we are in a competition world. Every now and then, each of us, our lives are trying to compete with others. It can be the members of our own family, our community, or our friends, whomsoever it may be. Because we get tempted by looking at their opulences. It can be property, it can be new gadgets, it can be the cars, luxury things what they have. We get tempted and we try to compete with them, and in that competition we try to work hard, or we try to think a lot, and we lose our peacefulness. So this anxiety we have to undergo when we are in material world. However, in the spiritual world, as I said, there are trees which gives you whatever you desire just by sitting under them. So everybody has that equal authority, equal share of enjoying whatever they want. So unlike this world, everyone wants to serve and please the Lord. So in this world, everyone wants to serve themselves. That is the biggest issue. That is the biggest problem. So this world is I-centric, and that spiritual world is God-centric. Okay? So in this material world, we go to temples and we take circumambulation of temple. We do parikrama of temple, but we don't know why are we doing that parikrama. So that parikrama that we do in our temples, because it is told that by doing so we have to have a feeling that, my dear God, let me have you in center of my life, so that I don't fall I don't fall into in trap of this material world. Okay, if you just circle, do a circle, if you just without having anything in the center, for example, if you are doing a circle, after some time you may fall, giddiness, and you may fall down. Okay, but when you have something in middle, like God, if you take circumambulation, then you will not have that suffering. You will have supreme bliss. Okay, so this material world is I-centric. Everybody wants others to listen what they want to say. So I want others to listen what I am saying, and they want me to listen what they want to say. They want me to act in the way they want. I want them to act in the way I want. So this I kind of ahankar is the source of getting clashes in this material world. So this kind of I centric is not there in spiritual world. In spiritual world, everybody wants to serve everybody. So they take pleasure of serving the other Vaishnavas, the residents of spiritual world. So that, and they, all of them, they together wants to serve the Lord, because the Lord is so attractive. Okay. So if, for example, if you in our teenage, most of us, we fell in love with somebody, we get attracted with some opposite gender. It can be, wife, or it can be a college girlfriend. When you are in that kind of infatuation, that attraction, you will, you will have a tendency of, how can I, get in touch with you? How can I serve? How can I help? So how can I impress? Kind of things, that infatuation will make you more attentive towards that person. So this kind of that is a temporary thing. Once you know that opposite gender loses the beauty, then your infatuation will also lose. That your attraction will also lose. However, it's not with the God, it's not like that. So God is all attractive. So when you start exchanging the love exchanges with God, so you will feel ever blissful. Okay. So Mata's next slide, please. So Jiva, marginal energy, we, the part and parcel of God. So we always are in dilemma, what to choose. Okay, to be puppets in hands of prison keeper or to be under the shelter of Lord. So we always have, do I have to pursue my career or do I have to take spiritual part? But we don't know that we can balance both by taking shelter of wonderful spiritual personalities. They guide us. Okay, so what we do is we feel so inferior. We don't feel to contact or consult any spiritual personality to get guided. We feel that I know everything, I studied. So of course we all of us are good at one subject. Okay, it can be somebody may be good in medical science, somebody may be good in engineering science, somebody may be good in software. All these material knowledge, why are we pursuing? To have a better life. And it is understood that the life that we are going to have, the whatever that we're going to acquire, they're not going to stay with us for a long time. So obviously we have to suffer. So to understand, for example, you're traveling in a highway. So if you see a signboard that after some time, after passing out some kilometers, you will see you will have a road which is not good, like that you will see a sign, so very crossing or dangerous road, accident prone road, like that you will see a sign. So if by looking at the sign, do we bewilder, do we get panic, or do we adjust ourselves? So obviously, we'll try to adjust ourselves and we'll go in the way how we can go and save ourselves, even we are passing through that particular dangerous highway. Okay, in the same way, so the marginal energy, we living entities, we also have to adjust, but we have to have knowledge first of all. How do we adjust ourselves to travel properly by balancing both material and spiritual life? Okay, so we should not be like a cat on the wall. So we should be like a devotee in the temple. Okay, so next slide, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, so this is about Kala. So till now we discussed about the material, Prakriti, the nature. Okay, how we can get rid of the Prakriti nature. What are the modes that are there in the material nature? How are we becoming entrapped in the modes of material nature? All those stuff. Now this is some information about Kala. Everything is a cycle: day, week, month, year, yuga. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Kalos Miloka Kshetra, I am the great destroyer of these worlds. Arjuna asks Krishna, in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, shows his gigantic form of supreme personality, with a huge form having all the incarnations put together, including the different Devi Devatas, you know, um, appearances as well, with so many thousands of hands and all those stuff. Arjuna at once he'll become like my God, what is this form? He says, my God, I'm not understanding. Who are you? He says, looking at your ferocious personality, I'm lost. Could you please tell me who are you? Then Krishna says, I am the Kala. I am who takes everything, who destroys everything. And he also says, I am the one who again, creates everything. Okay. So, how many of you know the calculation of Yuga cycle? Anybody knows how these yugas are calculated? What are the yuga we are in before that? What are? Can anybody answer?
Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga, Dwapar Yuga.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, there are
Okay. Okay. Fine.
One kalpa
Uh-huh.
is Brahma's one day,
Okay.
but one day of Brahma is one kalpa. But in our mankind, it comes to thousands of years.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you for trying. Okay. So the creation repeats. Everything is a cycle: day, week, month, year, yuga, kalpa, all the way to all the way up to pralaya. The creation repeats. Seems pointless. This is done. Okay. Accommodate our changing desires, chance for us to reform. So I'll give you a little information about this. How it is calculated. So we have 4 yugas. Kruta or Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, Kali Yuga. These 4 yugas are called one yuga cycle. Okay. So like this, the combination of these 4 one yuga cycle, and like these cycles, if 71 are put together, that is called one Manvantara. So right now we are in Vaivasvata Manvantara. Okay. Hare Krishna. So right now we are in Vaivasvata Manvantara, and this Manvantaras are of 14. Okay. Uh, and each Manvantara consists of 71 yuga cycles, and 14 Manvantaras make a kalpa. Okay. Like this, there are 30 kalpas. Right now we are in the first kalpa, which is called Sveta Varaha kalpa. Okay. So there are 30 kalpas. And once these 30 kalpas are finished, again the first kalpa comes. Okay. So in Gita it is said that Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Ahuyud Brahmano Vidu Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam Teho Ratra Vidho Jana. व्यक्तो व्यक्त सर्वा प्रभावत्यः रागमे रात्रियागमे प्रलीयन्ते तत्रैव व्यक्त समन्वये भूताग्रामस एवायं भूत्वा भूत्वा प्रलीयते रात्रियागमे वशपार्था प्रभावत्यः रागमे. So Krishna says, yeah, we're about to finish in a couple of minutes. So Krishna says, 1,000 yugas make one day of, the day of Kalpa, and the same 1,000 makes the night of Brahma. So like this, he has 100 years of lifespan. Okay. So once his 100 years of lifespan is completed, Pralaya comes. So the annihilation happens. Everything goes into unmanifested form, and once again, the new Brahma comes, then again the creation starts. So like that, it cycles every now and then. There is a huge time calculation. Okay. So we can calculate, like the way I said, Kali Yuga. 1,000 years means 1,000 yuga cycles of Brahma. Okay. So you can know some information like Treta. Kali Yuga lasts for 4,32,000, and then before that Dwapar Yuga for 8 lakhs, and before that Treta Yuga for 16, and before that Satya Yuga 32 lakh years. Okay, so if you add and calculate, it will be a huge figure. So this is about Kala. So here, we'll stop here. This is what we want to discuss. I want to discuss today. So there is an important announcement that I want to do. So those who are attending these 6 sessions of Secrets of Gita Reveal program, they will be appreciated by awarding a certificate that they are certified under this particular program like that. And these certificate program happens in our temple. Okay, so we are based out of ISKCON Abbots Hyderabad temple. Okay. So in our ISKCON Abbots Hyderabad temple, we will be awarding the participants of this program on this Sunday evening. Okay, we will be circulating the message, and we will be taking your willingness of attendance to that program. Based on that, it will be communicated to you. So I request all of you to attend further more 2 sessions as well. And those who have joined newly, you can listen to the recordings, and you can also attend this program, the get together program in the temple. So we will intimate about the time. It would be mostly in the evening of Sunday, coming Sunday. So this program will be followed with awards, certification award, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Motherji.
Sorry to interrupt. Prabhu, like Govardhan Prabhu told that the meeting and the certificates is postponed to 26th of February.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
And so there
Because
is a change.
Krishna Prabhu and Srivas Rasbihari Prabhu is not available. So
Okay,
because of
fine.
it, it's postponed.
No problem. So this program will be there. We thought of conducting it on this Sunday, 19th of February. But there is a small change.
Sorry, Sanjay.
We'll be having
When you
the
install
following
the
next.
standalone, right? Okay, you have got the packages installed, right?
Yes, Sanjay.
So that packages will try to understand whatever is coming from the YAML file. That's it. Okay, we are going to create a YAML file for our organization. We are going to put all information in our YAML file. This YAML file structure will be there. Okay, we will create our GITA. When we have been running it, it's like you making a build, right? How
Yes,
you make a
Prabhu.
build? You put it in GITA. When you want to make a build, you take it from
Sorry,
there, put
Prabhu.
it in a server, right?
Who's talking? I'm able to listen some voice. Okay, fine. Thank you. So there will be a program of appreciation. Okay, everybody. Okay, so there will be a appreciation program for attending these sessions in the temple. We'll communicate the date and the time and details of the program in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So for today, we will conclude here. Thank you for joining. And if anybody has any questions, they can ask. And if anybody want to leave for today, they can leave, or they can stay back to understand different questions from our devotees, different devotees. So definitely we'll take inputs. We'll try to finish that program, precision program, as early as possible. Okay. So if anybody has any questions, please keep your hand raised. So we'll answer one right.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Mataji.
that what all you told about the kalpa, beautifully it was being explained. Can you give that in this one so that we can have it with us and remember, and we can memorize it? One kalpa and one day and 4 manvantaras, everything. Yeah.
Definitely.
Kindly post it so
Yeah,
that
yes.
it will be useful for all of us.
Definitely. There are names of manvantaras, there are names of kalpas. Okay, all those stuff is there. Yeah, definitely. I'll put in the WhatsApp group. You're in the WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah.
I'll ping in the WhatsApp group. Thank you for your request, Mataji.
Yeah, it was very beautifully explained. So we would like to memorize it.
Definitely.
And keep it with us. Yeah. Thank you.
We'll keep you posted, Mataji. Thank you. Anybody has any other questions? So do we have any questions in the chat? Okay. Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. From Mahesh Prabhu, he's told that I'm slightly confused with Kala's, the timings, duration. Can you please, he's asking for the slides, Prabhu. Like he wants to know about the yoga cycles.
I mean, you want me to explain again, or you want it in written? Okay. Do you want me to explain one more time, or you want it to be in written form? Okay, slides, please.
Okay, yes, Prabhu, slides. Yeah.
Okay, the yoga cycle. Yeah, definitely not in a slide form, but I'll put it in a nice text form, like Saubhagya Lakshmi Mataji also has. So for everybody's convenience, I'll definitely post it in the group. So
Yes, that's all, Prabhu. No other questions.
okay, thank you, Mahesh. Thank you for your interest. So keep joining our sessions, take benefit of the spiritual bliss. Okay, thank you all. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for wonderful session, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you for all the information, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Nice it was. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Sarad Sound.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, do you have any question?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam. Thank you all. I pray Krishna to bless you all with, let him fulfill all your desires, and let him help you in all your endeavors of this material life. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you all for joining. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.